Hey guys, I wanted to do this video just to kind of show you guys where I'd like y'all to be at by the end of this week and give you a couple tips and pointers along the way. So as you can see, I've made some progress since the last video. I wanted to cover a couple things. Um, First of all, toilets. Let's talk about toilets. I've got a toilet right here. And oh, that's just from that. Okay. I've got a toilet right here. That's on the plumbing layer. And what I did to make the toilet to actually get the dimensions is I usually build the tank itself, and then I'll build a circle. So you can see right here where that circle cut is, and then I'll do an oval shape, and I'll do that outside. I'll offset that in, and there's a lot of mirroring and stuff involved, and then I'll just draw some lines here to create that. So here's the toilet. Here's the elevation view of the toilet. I made this while I was working on it, and you can see right here kind of how much some of this stuff is mirrored if I select through this way. So some of this is mirrored, some of it isn't. Um, but toilets are kind of a pain, so definitely make that a block and reuse it. Again, I'm going to offset these 1 inch from the wall. I think code is 1 1/8 inch. But I mean, again, it's we're doing you know fairly rough estimates with a lot of the furniture and stuff we plug in here. So like this may not be the actual size of the couch that goes in here either, for example. It may be an inch or two in a different dimension. I'm just using a generic couch size to indicate that there is a piece of furniture that goes here, and then we would later label that with what it is. In terms of elevation markers, you can see I've had to go and create a couple new ones here. So this one, again, is just the same one. I just rebuilt it as a different type. So I've done that in areas where, for example, the living room here is only going to have a north, east, and west. So I modified this one to only have north, east, west. The dining room, because of where this is, and you can see I kept these in here so I could show you guys how I kind of do this from time to time, is I create this this layer of just temporary reference lines. And I left them in here for you because usually I don't leave them in here, or I purge them at some point. And so I use this to generally go, okay, this is where this space is. So my dining room, I'm only going to have this part of that elevation for the north and this one for the west. I'm not going to have any others, so I had to create this custom one here. My kitchen is only going to be the east and the south, so I modified this one. So just modify them as you need. Like I mentioned to a couple of you guys in class, you don't have to make all of them all at once. Just make them when you need them, and then you've got them. While we're looking at the garage here, here's how I do garages. There's a couple different ways I've seen people do garages, or the garage doors specifically. So this is just showing out how I draw those. I've started doing my dimension lines. These are not final at all, but I wanted to talk about kind of these areas. What I've mentioned to a couple of you guys in class is your first layer is going to be every single step. So I think this bottom is a pretty good place to talk. So I'm going to go corner, door, door, corner, window, and then this wall right here, where that framing is. So I guess framing, window, door, window, corner, framing, corner. Then my next one is going to go corner, corner, framing, framing, corner, corner. And then my last one out here is going to go corner, 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 corner. So you can see none of these lines should pass between each other. Like, the last one here, or these lines should all pass between each other. So the last one here shouldn't have some weird offset where these don't line up, okay? These are all used for different purposes. So this outer set is going to be used by the people who are setting up the concrete pad or the footing for the structure when they're doing that. The second row is going to be used by the people framing. So they're going to go and find a corner and then measure to where they need to draw in the framing. And then the people who are putting in the windows and doors are going to need to know what the distance is from the nearest corner as well to where they're going to frame it. So that's why I have you guys do this. you end up with some overlap. So watch out, because this was a trick this was something I almost missed when doing my dimensions here, is I started at this corner, went all the way up, and then I didn't realize for a few minutes that I had to come back because of how this was offset. You guys also might end up with a weird thing like this, where you have this big empty area that's just got a couple of these dimension lines running through it. Don't worry about it. This is perfectly normal. What I don't want to see is you guys have like one set of dimension lines in here. Don't do that unless you have to. So I'm going to have, let me go back there. Okay. I'm going to have to do that so that I can, well, theoretically, I know where that corner is, but I don't know where this face is right here. So I would have to show something just to dimension this corner to this corner right here, so that I've got that, because that's the one dimension that I'm missing in that space. Everything else here should be covered. So let me hide these rough lines real quick. Again, anything I have as fuchsia is something I generally don't want to have in my final prints. Let's move this over 2 dimensions. So I've got a couple other things too. I haven't finished the kitchen because I hate doing kitchens. But you can see how the bedrooms, the bathrooms, just so you guys see, I hate my sinks. I overdrew them a little bit. But that's how I probably should just offset this one inside rather than, and just delete that outside, but that's what I did. A couple other notes too. So I think the bedroom, let me hide those elevation markers. The bedrooms, this bedroom in particular. So when I do these rough estimates for the rooms, I don't know. So see how it says 15 foot 5.5 inch? I round. So I just rounded that up to 6. Probably should call it 5 actually, round down. Oops. And then, there we go. So that's how I kind of figure out what these measurements for the spaces are. Now the utility room is kind of is one of those places where, what do you do about this weird space right here, right? When I measured the utility room, I considered that this area right here. So it is 12 foot by 9 foot 2. So again, I rounded up on that one. Again, I should round down. So we'll call it 9 foot 1. So that makes this area the utility room. What's this? Well, I consider this just to be a hallway. So I'm not going to document that necessarily as as part of the utility room. In the same way that, for example, when I did the entry, I didn't count this space because I consider this just a hallway. When I do the elevation, I will look into here and I will look up at, oh, I probably should, no I won't. And when I did the den though, I considered this area the den, and then this area is just, again, kind of a transition space. So this is the space, and then this is a pass-through for that space. So I'm not documenting that. That's kind of a decision that I'm making in this particular case, and it's up to you how you want to handle that, and kind of how your floor plan looks. All right, anyway, so we talked about dimensions. One other thing I've been talking to you guys about, that I've been harping on quite a bit, is make sure you're always working on your default layer. And so what does that mean? I always want you guys working on your 0 layer and then moving stuff off. And I always have been telling you guys too, make sure you let things stay by layer here as much as you can. So these garage doors are one of those exceptions. So if I go in and edit this block, you can see that I'm not on the 0 layer for all these. They're actually on the door layer. But one exception I did make is that I went in and I manually changed these to use the hidden lines that I've been using in this project so far. So while these lines are solid and inherit the default layer behavior, these are going to be overridden to use the hidden too. That's a special characteristic of how these are set up, so that's how I'm going to do this. I think I need to add the thing in it too. And then I've done something similar. I did have these marked out as floor overhead, but I moved them to also be overridden as well. So same layer for these two sets. It's just that these lines right here for the upper cabinets on things, use it. Oh, let's talk about the laundry room too. So I have a washer and a dryer. The only difference between those two is that the washer has this thing on the front for the top loading, and the dryer doesn't. Now, if we were going to get into, labeling equipment and such, this is the point where I would have a mention about, washer, dryer. They would be labeled and they would be part of a schedule somewhere. Um, the and let's talk about drains too. So there's the drain for the shower. Anything that drains towards something should have a drain, and then these lines pointing towards it that indicates where that drainage is. So this is a shower, this is a bath. They were drawn in different ways. Technically, I should have another circle in the middle here for that. So one of the other major things, and I want to get this to you guys before the weekend, let me pull up my sheet, is I wanted you guys to have door and window labels. So let's talk about door and window labels. Let me go, let's hide some stuff here first because we're kind of crowded. So we'll get rid of our dimensions, we can get rid of our room labels. That's good enough. Okay. So, what do door and window labels look like? So the first one, let's do we need a polygon. There we go. Okay. So window label, 6 sides, and then I forget which one. Let's do this at 8 inches. I'm not going to set these up as annotative. Let's do smaller than that. 6 sides, inscribed, and we'll do 6 inches, and we'll rotate this 90 degrees. Okay, so these are going to indicate which windows are which, and the way we'll do that is by labeling them. So this is just going to have and that's why I'm not doing them annotative, is I'm only going to display this at a 1/4 inch scale. So I'm going to set up, we'll call this window 1. Oops. Oh, except did I use label detail? Okay. So I can make this smaller. Let me redraw the polygon again. 6 sides, inscribed, radius 3 inches? No, that's too small. 6 sides, inscribed, radius 4 inches. Okay. We'll rotate this 90, and then I'm just going to move it. I'll reference kind of here in the center and see if it snaps right. That was too close. Okay, so this will be my window label, and then we're going to need one for the doors as well. So I'll copy this over, and then what I'm going to do is I'll do a circle, and we'll do a 3-inch radius. We'll copy this over here. Let me get this out of here for a second. And let me throw a rectangle, and we'll just reference here, and then that gives us this space. Okay, so we have window label and door label. They're obviously used for separate things. So this should go with every door, and then this should go with every window, and then we need, what are we doing for this? So yeah, I'm setting these up at 1/4 inch, or to look 1/4 inch, but okay. So let's talk about how we label door windows. This is a 3-foot 0-inch by 7-foot 0-inch door. That's not what we put here. What we put here is 30/70, and hopefully whoever is reading it is smart enough to understand that. So let me actually pull up properties. We'll justify this center. And I'm going to pull this down just a little bit. And then we'll do the same thing for this window. Oops. Let's get that right there. And this is a 1 foot 6 inch window by, what did I say this is? 7 foot 0. Because it's a tall one. No, actually, let's make it a 5 foot tall. So 5 foot 0 inch. So in that case, we would call this a 1650. Now, the idea with this is a shorthand notation. Generally, you should be able to understand what this is. If you see something like 11 here, then generally you know that it's either going to be a 1 foot 11 inch or an 11 foot 1 inch. You aren't going to end up with 3 numbers because by the time the inches roll over, you end up with something else. So it's just it's a type of notation that indicates what it is. Something else that we can do is, if we've been creating blocks along the way, what I can do is I can come to my block list here, and then I can open up the snipping tool in Windows, and I can get all my doors right here. So I've got this list of my doors, and now I can just go, okay, this one is 1, 2, 3. Sorry, I can't write really well. So this is 1 through 3 right here. This is 4 and 5. This is 6, 7, and 8. And I can do the same with the windows, and then I can just kind of move this off. I have the benefit of a larger screen than you guys do in the classroom. So I can look at this and go, okay, well, based on that list of notes I have, this is my 3 foot 7 inch or 3 by 7 door. So I'm just going to call that, or label this one number 3. I also need to go into properties, and we will need to justify this text to, there it is. Okay, center, and I didn't do that for this one either, so we will do center here as well. Okay, so now that I've done that, let me also double check what my block list has for windows. So these ones would be 1, okay. Let me see if I can memorize that. Well, it's just short. There we go. Okay. Snipping tool. Scroll back down. Okay. Okay. So I've got my list now. So this one is going to be 1. I can CO this over. And for a couple of you guys, I was telling you, make sure you leave enough space with your dimension line so that you can fit this kind of stuff in there. And that's exactly why you do want to have that kind of space. So I can take this, we can CO this over, and try and keep these centered with the window itself. I got that pretty close, but where's the center? Right there? Oh, I got that almost exact. It's not even going to let me. There we go. So then just looking at this list, this is going to be my 6 foot window. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we'll call this window 6. And then it is we'll leave it at 5 foot. So this is a 6050 window. Okay. So 1 foot 6, 5 foot, 6 foot 0, 6 foot by 5 foot, you get that. If I come over here to these side windows, I didn't grab the thing. And this again, I'm going to just try and visually go, this should be right about here. That was close too. I'm either good or I'm lucky. I'm not sure which one it is. And again, I'm trying to keep it kind of close. So these are my 4 foot exterior windows. This means this is going to be window number 5. This is going to be 4 foot by 3 foot. So we're going to keep that numbering system as we go through and we label all of these. Same thing with the doors. This is a door interior. And one other thing is I'm putting these door labels inside of the door itself. So this one, door 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because this is the 2'3", yeah, 6, and this is the 2, 3, and then now that I'm working with interior doors, it's a 6'8". So it's a 2'3" by 6'8" interior door. This other one over here, if I hop this one over here, is going to be one of my more common ones because I did a lot of these. So this is my door into 6. This is going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is 8, and it is a 2 foot. I already forgot. 2'6". That's why we reference. Okay, 2'6", 6'8". Okay, so this one I know I could copy all over the place, so I would just run a CO and then just start putting this thing everywhere because this is most of my interior doors right here. Let me get a better copy on this. Don't know what that one is. So anyway, oh, we have one more too. I didn't actually make a... Oh, that's going to screw this up. Hopefully I don't have to change too much. It shouldn't, because this is... I didn't actually change these closet doors into blocks, so that would be something. Anyway, kind of getting weirdly deep into this. Don't need to go there. Let's check again the project list. So ideally by the end of this week, you guys should have your plan, your doors, your windows. I still need to add some doors and windows back here, which means I'll have to redo those dimensions. I've got my room labels, my elevation markers are in. Make sure what, yeah. So elevation markers are in, room labels are in. I don't have my section cut markers, but I have somewhere in here. Did I skip one already? There it is. So I've got one right there, and I can easily just grab another one, the other ones from somewhere else. So I've got the section cut markers there, and then be working on section cuts and elevation. So I'm about 4 hours in. I'd expect this to take you guys a little bit longer. One thing I'd also note, or at least point out, is that I haven't done the hatch on the wall. My walls are not finalized yet. So I know I showed you guys that a lot earlier than I probably should have in the previous demo. I don't fill in my walls until I am ready to print, because sometimes you can be super late in the game and have to go back and do that. So I haven't done that yet. At this point, I'd probably chug a bunch of caffeine and start cranking out elevations and just go room by room. So I'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, pretty much every namespace. So I've got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 places. So I'd have 13 rooms to do. I'd probably do, especially now that I have the worst part, this toilet. I hate doing toilets. The kitchen I'd still have to do. That's a pain. So yeah, I've got a bit to do here still myself. But ideally, once I'm done with the sections and elevations, that's exactly where I'd want to be by Monday next week, by the end of class Monday next week. So I'm about 2 hours away from that myself. But I just wanted to kind of give you guys this video so that you knew what the door labels, window labels, garage door indications might be. So the garage doors themselves, I've got the 16 foot by 7 foot and the 8 foot by 7 foot. So those, I'd have to label those as well. There's a couple notes, and then once I get my sections in, I think I'll have that video for you guys by Monday. But ideally, like, one of the last things you'll be doing is your wall section, and that's when I'll kind of get into explaining why we have our walls at 6 inches and 4.5 inches for this project. Anyway, I'm rambling. I'll let you guys get back to your projects. I'll see you in class.